Hi everyone. Welcome to the Mental Factory meeting. We had a special guest who come from Florida, making things happen. This gentleman start this business few months ago. Few months ago, he started doing with power, working with power. He cracked the code. Basically, he cracked the code. He defined how to do sales via phone without Zoom, without Google Meet, without those things we use, and a lot of people closing like that using the the Google Meet or using the Zoom, but Garret do something different. Garret found the meet the people with the phone and send what they need to see only is the best way to close the deal. And he gonna explain you how to he close deal via phone without computer. We are nothing in there, only the phone. Who want to learn that? I want I want the people who want to learn how to close deal via phone. Put number one in the chat. Put and type in number one and show together. You want to learn how to close deal via phone. Can someone put the number one in the chat? Type number one. You want to learn how to close deal with the phone? Put number one together, or put a fire, or put hard, or put something to him. He want to see that, you know, he got to share with you a lot of experience he had in this industry. The first I want to learn from you, we want to know who is Get It, where you from, where you come from, what you do before solar.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate this opportunity. I've actually, a little bit about myself. I lived in Utah. So I'm actually from Virginia. Lived in Utah for about 12 years, but I been in solar since 2018, actually. But I was started as a door-to-door appointment setter. So I just knocked doors and set appointments, and that's that's really it. But that's what really got me into it. And then a few years back, I got into closing, moved to Texas, and then I I sold in 2021 was actually my first year going from setting to closing, and sold 100 plus my first year of just closing. And then last year, as technically second year of closing, uh, did about 130. But the biggest change towards the end of the year was I switched from door to door to virtual in September, and then in September I went from Zoom to phones in December, and now I'm 100% over the phone and no Zoom, unless someone absolutely wants it, which I haven't done a Zoom in probably like almost 2 months now. So it's only the phones, and it's funny because I'm actually not everyone, but most people now, I don't even send a proposal, they don't even see anything uh, until certain parts of it. I might send a picture and whatnot, but yeah, I just do it 100% over the phone and no Zoom. So
Okay, well, I get it. When you had a conversation, let's sample, you had a customer in line, what you telling? What you tell in that point, a customer
hmm
already for the meeting, he waiting for you.
hmm
What you say to him to create the closing, or
hmm
to proceed to the next step? How you guide that customer? What is the first question you make to him? Um, and tell us what you do in that process when you're making the call.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, the first thing is when I talk to a customer. I'm really casual, just super. I keep it really simple. Um, but I really just ask them like what interests them about solar, and what kind of questions do they have for me. And then from there, I have a conversation like you would with a friend, with anyone, and I'm just talking to them like I'm talking to anyone, and just really just having a conversation. And throughout that conversation, we're going to talk about, net metering. We're going to talk about how many panels that may work. we're gonna say like, hey, the qualification, we're going through the sale without them knowing it's the sale, essentially. And by the time they get to the numbers, they understand what net metering is. They understand how solar works. They understand, why, utility rates are going up. They understand, why everyone's going solar. So by the time you get to the numbers, they're pretty much sold. And that's like, can be like 15 minutes because it depends on the house. Half or more like 30-minute sales, sometimes 45 and occasionally longer. But by the time you get to the numbers, like, it's super straightforward. You keep it simple, and you just be like, hey, your new utility bill, depending on where you're selling, is say going to be $10 a month to be connected. And, their solar payments say 150. And I'm like, hey, look, your new utility bill is $7. Your solar is 150 bucks a month. Your old utility bill was say 200. You're saving 40 bucks a month, day one, year one. So I keep it very, 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 very simple, very
I love it.
straightforward.
I love it. I love it. And what about when the customers say, hey, get it? Well, how much it gonna cost me? How much is the total?
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, it's a super, super good question. I mean, it really just depends, right? Like, it really just depends on how many panels. If I guess when they ask that question, if you're referring to like, let's say they ask that question after you bring up the payment, I'll be like, yeah, that's so this is how it kind of works, right? Your your solar. So let's say in this example, the solar payment's 150. The system is say 30,000, tax credit 10,000, net cost or tax credit 9,000, net cost 21,000. So I would be like, yeah, it's super straightforward. So if you do qualify for the program, it's a 25-year, 3.99%. Uh, it's transferable. There's no prepaid penalties. This is how it works. Your system's 30,000. After the tax credit, you get $9,000 tax credit. After the tax credit, you're looking at 21,000. And you're literally, what you're doing is you're going to go from paying your electric bill. So your new electric bill, say, is 10 bucks a month, and your solar payment is a flat fixed rate that, never changes. It's 150 a month. And at this point, and we're going through it a little quick, but at this point, they understand that, utility rates are going up. They understand that they were paying 200. They understand that, if they don't go solar, they're going to be wasting spending a lot of money. They're renting power. So they understand that. So by the time you get there, it's really, they really, really, really understand. But I really emphasize in the qualification portion, building like the urgency of like, they don't know if they're going to qualify because we don't know. I mean, they might not qualify. Maybe they qualify for financing, but they don't qualify for the utility. So, or the site survey or the roof or something. So I always make them feel like, hey, look, you may not qualify. We're just here to see if this, if this, something we can, help you with.
Perfect, perfect. Hey, if someone wanna listen this in Spanish, you have to go to the bottom. You're gonna see a little globe, and you click in there, select the language, and you're gonna listen this conversation in Spanish. Okay. If you wanna listen in Spanish, you go on the bottom, select your language, put in Spanish, and you're gonna listen everything in Spanish. All right. And get it. Another question for you, like when the customer, because after that the customer gonna get the loan
Mm-hmm.
via the email, and it'll say, oh, well, this is like $44,000. You told me I got to pay that. How you handle that, because he don't see face to face
Mm-hmm.
the loan. Everything is handled by the phone. Do you see a screenshot to that, or you wait to that moment to explain, hey, this is the reason you're gonna pay that much? How you handle that
Mm-hmm.
objection can, I think happen, it's happened to you, like when they get to see the document and say, oh my God, that's more than what you told me.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause they're like, hey, total system is like seven, when you factor in like, yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's no problem. If anyone ever asks, I'm like, yeah, I'm like right there. That's accounting for if you don't put the tax credit in, and you go every single payment. And then I ask them a question, I'm like, So, you know, like with a mortgage, right? Where, you know, if you go every single payment for, say you do 30 years, you pay for, you know, multiple homes. You know, it's very similar. This is showing you that if you go every single payment for 25 years and you don't put the tax credit in, which you said you would put the tax credit in, you're going to pay, you know, pay that much. But let's say you don't go solar, you're going to spend, do the quick math, and you're going to spend this much more if you don't go solar anyway. So, and then it'd be like, okay, that makes sense. We'll probably pay it off sooner anyway, or because at the end of the day, like if they understand they pay $200 a month, 2,400 a year, they're spending, you know, I always say, look, you're spending 24,000 plus inflation per decade. You know, that's more than what the solar is going to cost you in the end. And at year 25, you still pay for your solar or for your power bill. You still pay for your power bill, but your solar is completely paid off, you know, assuming they do a 25 year, is completely paid off at year 25. So that's a really, you know, I know Mosaic is the one that objection comes up the most, is when you use Mosaic docs. So yeah, a lot of practice getting through that one.
Exactly. What is the typical loan financial you use? Lead, Mosaic, online. What is the
I,
best for you?
yeah, I only use not Mosaic, Good Leap, because essentially if you can't get approved with Good Leap, no one's approving you. You
That's
know,
true. That's true.
it's
That's
literally
true.
the only one. I don't even understand why they give out money like it's candy. It's just free money for everyone, but they do. Easiest finance company to work with. But it depends. So I've noticed a pattern that getting people approved above 75 grand is a lot harder right now. So I tend to go for bigger systems, like 49, maybe 599. Not the rates are going up. I gotta look at it again. But I tend to go at a higher interest rate, slightly higher for bigger systems to keep the cost down, and then a lower rate for smaller systems because doesn't really like bring up any like red flags in their mind. So that's kind of
Exactly.
what I've been doing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I do too. Is if the system is too high and I can, because most the approval is 75, someone 135, but if you can go with higher interest with 260, and the way that system get approval is gonna be high. Okay,
Yeah.
because it's less money we had to finance. Okay. And the
Hmm.
other question, um basically, yeah, what you do is talking about the monthly payment, talking about how much they pay. You try solar like another utility company. Like we switch you from here to this company. Okay. And what you gotta do, you gotta stop pay that bill and use that money to pay the new bill. But you have to qualify for this. And then you do the qualification. If you qualify, if they make the objection about how much costs the loan, and then you go back to there and I say, well, how much is going to cost you to pay utility bill in the next 30 years? If for the inflations and everything, this is going to be fixed. But if you qualify for the loan, you don't have to pay by this cash. You can pay monthly payment less than what you pay and save a lot of money. What is the market you prefer selling? What is the market? What is the market gonna say? Yeah, well, this is my market. I love selling here.
Yeah, if you guys don't know the SRAC market, solar renewable energy certificates, they're the best market ever. And DC, when power opens that, in Washington, DC, and SRAC is over $400. So for anyone that doesn't know, if a system's producing 12,000 kilowatts and an SRAC is $400, the homeowner's getting $4,800 cash back every single year for 20 years. So solar's essentially free in DC, and then you get a lot of free money. So SRAC markets, SRAC, SRECtrade.com. Check it out.
Can you type
SR.
it in the on the chat? Can you type it real quick to the people can have that website? You know, that's a rec incentive. That's for New Jersey, Illinois, Maryland. I think Connecticut added that, Massachusetts,
Virginia.
Virginia. A lot of those markets had the solar rec. Okay, that's
Mhm.
great. That's a good
Yeah.
information. Okay,
Yeah.
where you getting your customer? You knocking doors, or you had advertising, or you had a company who generate the lead for you?
So I have a company and a partnership for I don't know if anyone knows my boot camp, solarbootcamp.ai. Check us out online. But we have a partnership with a lead gen company, and I can connect you guys with my account manager. It's expensive, but you know, it's exclusive appointments, and there are people that book the appointment themselves. So essentially, what that means is they watch a YouTube video or go to a website, and if they like, if they like it, they're literally booking it on your calendar. So they're super interested. I really like them. And then I have, tier 3, and then other, just other people sending me deals, setters online. So it's like 50 directions.
That's an ATM machine. For those people, understand, like, investment is everything in this business. Like, forget it, to get to the point he are right now. He closed, what is the, like 37 deals last month, like something
Yeah,
like it was.
yeah. So believe it or not, it doesn't show. But I've closed over 70 so far this year, overall. So it's pretty crazy. It's been my best.
This,
I mean, this is gonna be my
yeah, hold
best
on.
year.
2023 on 70 deals in 2023.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's crazy. It's freaking I've never done that many in this short, especially in a January and a February, because in January it was 28, and then last month was 37, and it could have been over 40, but there was a few I messed up on. Things happen. But yeah, I'm shooting this year to average 25 a month, 300 plus this year, overall is the goal.
I love it. I love it. You know what? Some people do 70 in 1 year. He do it 2 months, 3, 4 months. That's crazy. Like, but how you do, how you can make that happen is simple. You have to have multiple source of lead generation. Like, if you only focus in locking door, that's what you gotta get. Only what you get in the door. But if you focus on tier 3 deals, and you have campaign online, and you have knocking door, and you have the ambassador program, and you have all those people refer customers, you're gonna be like good. You're gonna be like busy, but making freaking money. You're gonna make. We was making the numbers. I say, well, get it, but 37 days 1 month is over 235,000. What kind of money? What you gonna do? Oh, I want to move to Puerto Rico. Okay, and I say I gotta move to Puerto Rico because I don't want to pay that much tax. Okay, and it's a smart. Getter is really smart. I love it. He very humble. How he managed everything. How communicate. Also, when I ask him, hey, can you be part of the Zoom? I say, of course, I do it. Some people are asking that and say, no, if they don't choose me as a mentor, I want to talk with nobody. He's not like that. He's very humble. And he say, you know what, I got to give you my nuggets to those people and help others to do the same. And that's what he's doing right now. Garret, something you want to say to the people just started, or people they have couple months in the business, but they don't find the result they want. Why you have to tell those people? What is you advice to those people?
Yeah, so solar's funny because it's the best paid industry ever, and we know how good it is. We all chase the dream, and a lot of us don't get there because we quit too soon. So my advice would be, don't quit keep going as long as you can, and work as much as you can. And I think I saw in the chat, to do that many deals, I work 7 days a week, all day, every day. I have no social life, which I don't mind at all. I don't mind one bit, but I'm working all day, every single day, 7 days a week. I take appointments on Sundays, believe it or not. I'll probably even still work my birthday this year. So it's not easy. It takes a lot of, I mean, it, I'm grateful that I got there, actually. Like, I've never done that many. It blows my mind. So it's definitely possible for anyone that's trying to achieve it. Now, I want to say, if anyone that wants that anyone's new that needs a lot of help, I found a really good tool that I'm sure you guys have seen in the news, believe it or not, that's very helpful, and everyone should sign up. It's called Chat GPT, the AI tool. But you can,
type in the chat. Type in the chat.
I'll put I'll
Put in
put
the
in the
chat.
chat. But
Yeah.
essentially you can tell it, and it could do Spanish as well. But you could say, like, act like a solar expert of 50 years, and you can ask it any solar question you want, any net metering question for any utility. You can ask it any question about panels, inverters, batteries. It's like anything you could ever imagine, you can ask it. So I use it every day. I actually had a customer ask me yesterday, or potential customer, he said, how many amps in a Q cell panel? And I typed in Q cell amps, and it spit out extremely quick, 32 to 40 amps. And I read it, and it perfectly, and he thought it came from me. So I seriously, you guys should check it out. I'll post in the chat right now.
Okay. He got to type in the chat. Hey guys, we got to answer a question real quick. Let me go over here. Garret got to answer your question because the question is for him. Let me see. Okay. Power solar. Yes, you can make a question. Go ahead. Make your question. Okay.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Hey, Gary, good to have you, man. You're awesome. So I have a few questions, so hopefully William can. So the first one is, because you're doing everything through the phone now, when you build that framework from beginning to end, where do you spend most of your time? Is it in the discovery, the trust? I mean, I know that at the end it's the numbers where it's already kind of like, okay, he's already buying, but where do you spend most of your time and your focus and your framework? That's the first question.
Most of it, like, the most important to me is the first portion of it, is building that initial, like, trust, rapport. The initial question I ask, which is, if you don't mind me asking, like, what interests you about solar, and what kind of questions do you have for me? I always say in the beginning, I sometimes say even before we get started, I always just kind of like to ask, what interests you about solar? What kind of questions do you have for me? Such an easy sentence line, but it will immediately show you their interest level, because then they're going to start talking and tell you what they're thinking. And then, depending on the questions and the stuff they say, if you ask the right questions, you can skillfully move the conversation to where you need it to get to. And then that portion, if it goes well, is going to be like 10-15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And then by the time you get to the numbers, that's like about 5-10 minutes. And then even by then, sometimes you're completely done with the deal. But I would say, like, most deals, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. If I was to say most, probably closer to 45, but a decent amount are about 30 minutes. But about the 30-minute mark is essentially, they're sold, they're just signing up now. And then by 45 minutes, docs are all done, everything's done. I got the power, I got everything I needed. If I didn't have a power, like a full copy, I got a full copy. If I needed homeowner's insurance, driver's license, whatever, by the 45-minute mark is typically when that's all done. And then,
I love it. No, definitely. I love it because towards the end, you're kind of guiding them now. So when you did that first part, I did also hear that I'm not sure if you qualify,
yeah,
you kind of
yeah.
hit them with that right there at the beginning. Is
Mm-hmm.
that something you do for every call that you're on the phone?
Yeah, I mean, I do it all the time because I mean, we don't know if they're going to qualify. I mean, we might know like from experience, but you may not know. Like, first of all, they may not qualify. Be like, hey, you may not qualify. Then be like, hey, if you do qualify, your roof may not qualify, your electrical, your structural may not qualify, which is 100% true. They may not fit all the panels. So, and then be like, and just want to give you the heads up, if everything looks good for your roof and your house does qualify, we still need to get you approved and qualified for the utility approval, and that can take up to 60 days, and that's not guaranteed either. And I always
Right.
say, like, sometimes I'm like, hey, if they do deny or they push back, that could make the project a little bit longer. Otherwise, we'll appeal it for you, but just want to give you the heads up. And
You're
then,
setting expectation at that point. All right,
yeah.
so sorry, William, it's just, I mean, I'm like so intrigued because he does this over the phone, like he knows Zoom. So you're very nonchalant, like the voice that you have right now. Do you mimic them? Like if they're very loud or excited person, do you kind of go to that level, or you keep that mellow kind of just your style?
Yeah, I mean, essentially right now is how I do it. At certain times, when they ask certain questions in the docs, I make my tonality a little bit
Okay.
stronger, more confident, especially when they ask like total system cost. Why is it 100 grand when you said it was 60 grand? And then, because typically, like, if you're like, well, it's because this, and this, they're not going to sign. But if you're like, yeah, it's because it's showing that if you don't put the tax credit in, which you said you would, and if you go every single payment like a mortgage, you're going to pay that much. But you could pay this off anytime, etc. But if you act, confident and your tonality is right, and you don't make it a big deal, no issues.
All right, last question, William, because I know there's more people that want to ask questions. So do you feel, and this one just came up, do you feel that you have an advantage now that you just do it over the phone versus Zoom? I just got off a call right now and automatically I said, we're going to connect via Zoom, but the conversation went well on the phone. I could have continued it just a phone, but do you feel you have an advantage versus everybody else? That's all of us, the majority. We're doing Zooms and you're thinking in your head, man, I got this, but these guys are just doing Zoom and I'm doing phone. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you feel about that?
There's always those people that would prefer a Zoom out there, but I will say, like, majority of the people that you work with, they're not going to care that they see your face. They're not going to care. If anything, they prefer the convenience of not having to sit on a computer and being looked at. And then how many times have you guys been on a Zoom where they don't even have their camera on? So it's just you awkwardly staring at a black box, with their
Yeah,
name.
true.
So it's just like, what's the point? That's just how I felt. I did Zoom for 3 months after moving from in-house sales, and I'll never go back. Every time someone wants to do a Zoom, I'm like, give it away. I don't want it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
William, I'm done with my questions.
Thank
I
you,
got
thank you,
more, but for right now, I'm done.
thank you,
No
thank you,
problem.
thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Garret.
I got another question that is very interesting. Say, hey, Garret, how many presentations you do to get 37 to get 37 closing? How many presentations by phone via phone? They maybe that question based in closing ratio. For with how many people you need to talk to close one deal?
That's let me think. My one problem is I'm not super good with KPIs. But if I was to make the educated assumption, I typically will meet anywhere from 3 to 5 people a day. And then out of those 3 to 5 people I meet with, I'll get anywhere from 1 to 3 sales a day on average.
That's a great number. 3 or 3 people, that's effective. That means you have 75% like closing.
I mean, like, I
no,
mean,
someone not qualified. It's not him. It's the customer decline.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's like most people I talk to at the very least will run their credit. I think it's like 70-80% of the people I talk to will run their credit. So if I got into a better wraparound system where I was like consistently better at following up and I didn't have as many appointments, because it's super hard when you just have another 5, 10, last month it was 10, 15 appointments a day. And I had 2 calendars back double booking to, and pushing stuff away if I had to two bookings at once. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that yeah, it's 100% just more effective just doing over the phone versus just doing over Zoom for sure.
Exactly. It's perfect because people get less objection when they don't see nothing.
Yeah, and then it's a good point, because like how many times like have you like started speaking to a customer and they're like staring at the screen and they're not even like fully listening because they're like seeing stuff and they're like, what do you wait? And you say something like, but I have to pay I still pay a utility bill, right? I still pay an electric bill, right? Like they don't even hear you. And I don't get as much pushback, or like they see the proposal looks a little weird and they're like, so why does that say that? Why does it say that there? Because you know how it is. It could be one tiny thing for a homeowner to be spooked sometimes. Like I've seen the smallest stuff completely like change a demeanor of of a customer just from like one thing they saw that was off on a proposal, because maybe soloed somehow defaulted. I've had, solo glitches, stuff like that, where utility rate shoots up and it shouldn't, stuff like that. So you have more control. You essentially show them what you want them to see. And yeah, I just prefer it this way, hands down.
Okay, thank you for that answer. He already answered that question. How many average appointment by day? That he already answered that. Um, okay, the leads, he get the lead generation company who set up the lead for him. I think he already typed in the chat.
I'm
what is
gonna
the
I'm gonna post that right now. Actually, I didn't end up typing it. I have the link to them. Let me. Yeah, I'll post that in just a minute, guys. I'll get that to you.
okay? He got a poster real quick. Let me see what's okay. Any other question? Let me see who. No more questions right here. Okay, if you want to type one more question, we got to get one more question and we done with the Zoom. Okay, because Garret had to go in the call to make money. Hello, dime.
Yeah, yes, this is Laura Mora. How are you, Garret? Thank you for
Hey,
being.
Laura.
Yes, I have a quick question. So I do hear that you do many calls per day. But I want to know, what's the one technique that you use to create urgency on clients to decide right there and then if they're gonna go solar or not?
Well, I mean, it's like urgency wise, I would say it would more so like, hey, throughout the conversation, net metering changes. I'm like, hey, this is the best time to go solar, because I actually compare to California a lot. I'm like, hey, like California, they're changing their net metering. Utah's changed their net metering. Parts of Texas has, Florida almost. The whole country is going to change their net metering. Every home is going to be going solar. So even if you don't go solar today, at some point, you will. So right now you're going to have the best terms possible because they're one-to-one, assuming, you're in a one-to-one market. So I kind of use that as like an urgency in terms of like changes in net metering, utility costs going up. It's so, the urgency always changes depending on what's going on, because now let's say urgencies, the 399s are going away. So it's like, hey, you want to lock in your rate now, or when the 199s were, or now with NEM 3.0, it's just there's so many different types of urgency, but there's always something that I use. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, thank you to be here. Thank you, Garret, for everything, for the all information, for share with us like how you close in this quarter, or it's 3 months. In 3 months, over 70 deals, 70 contract, 70 installation, 70 times 7, like 7,000. You do the math, is is, we have to improve. We have to change the way we do it. If we will learn something, how to do it quickly and faster, why not change the method? Why not change the way to close deal? If we can do it with the phone, I know sometimes what I learned from this conversation is sometimes we show too much and the customer blows the mind. And then when we show less and we go straight what they want to list, the customer want to hear is only how much I got to pay a month. That's the key. How much I got to pay a month to switch to solar. Okay. When you're talking too much about, hey, this panel is 400 watt, this panel, this battery, and you start making the customer think a lot, the customer blows the mind. I say, you know what? It's too I don't want to do that. I had to think about it. I know, but when he know he got to pay less than what he paid more in the solar rec market, because in the solar rec market, they had a $55, $40 less in the monthly payment you show and the monthly payment from the solar. That's gonna be additional. Okay, I had a customer was in Connecticut. He got to pay $235 with $54 less in the monthly payment. It's one something, and he paid $300 in the electricity bill. That was the entire conversation. I want to switch to solar. Okay, it's just simple. Thank you, Garret. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man, but those people, hey, give me a fire to her, get a heart. Everybody put a heart, el corazón, pon un corazoncito en el chat. Everybody together, give me a heart together. You see how much the people love you, man. Give me a heart, everybody. We got 67 people in the chat, almost 70. Everybody, give me a heart, every heart. You see, people love people like you who give me that, to help people grow. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
See you on the top. See you, everybody, next. Okay. See you on the top. God bless.
Yep. Thanks for having me, everyone. See you next time.